Kia ora, good morning. I just woke up, I'm having my coffee. I fell back asleep after I did that little read this morning, and yeah, this is me just waking back up now. So I'm going to have my coffee. So then if I go quiet, you know why. Um, I had a dream, very interesting dream, that has something to do with the reading I did when I got woken up. I was not planning. I honestly thought I was waiting for a news drop, for something to come out on X or whatever, for me to go, look, that's why I got woken up. And I ended up doing that reading. And this dream, I think, has something to do with the reading. So I'll take a sip, hang on. So what was the dream? I dreamt I was in a plane crash with Vladimir Putin. It was a passenger plane, and when the pilot said we were about to crash, I was initially scared, and I held his hand like I was holding on to him as the plane was going down. But the pilot did such a phenomenal job. I realised we're actually going to be okay. It's just going to be like a rough landing. Until I realised that we were landing over houses. But we were landing over houses in China. But the houses didn't look Chinese. They looked American. They looked like a typical American suburb. But in the dream, the plane was crashing in China. And it was like this big long road ended up being the runway. But it was like, instead of crashing into instead of crashing into houses and stuff, it was like the plane was just the perfect height to just go over the tops of the houses' roofs. So there was no damage. No one was hurt, like not a single person was hurt. It was like a miracle. And when I got out of the plane, these military people came out of nowhere and Vladimir was gone. And I was asking where he was, and they said, oh, well, he had to leave. And I was like, why did he leave? And they said, well, because he's Vladimir Putin. Like, Vladimir Putin isn't going to be staying around. He's Vladimir Putin. He's off to do Vladimir Putin things. And I just remember being so offended and so, like, betrayed. And I said, but I thought we were in this together. And they were like, well, it's Vladimir Putin. And I just thought, right, okay, fine. So then I started walking back to where I was walking to where I was supposed to be going before the plane crash. And there were all these people, and like across this little, how do I explain it? It was like I don't know if it was like a water reservation or a dam, or it was one of those places where, they store your water and stuff, but for everyone. And people were swimming in it. And I remember thinking, like, this swimming in the water's reservation tanks. The swimming in the reservation tanks, that's gross. Until I realised that the people who were swimming in it were, and I keep having these dreams, they were pulling sludge out. So the water was going from green to clear. And they were all laughing, and people were jumping in, and they were all working together to pull this green sludge out so that the water was clean. And then Vladimir Putin jumped in the water. Like, he just came out of nowhere and dive bombed in the water and was swimming. But he was in like an army uniform. He was wearing like army stuff, but on his suit. And when he came out of the water, how do I explain it? I knew he was saying, I'm one of them. I'm just like them. I'm one of them. Like, I'm one of the good guys. And I just remember being happy that the water was being made clean. Now, the thing was, this water reservation station, or this reservoir, wherever it was, felt like it was in France. It felt like I was in France. So I was in a commercial aeroplane crash that crashed in China with the Russian president, where the water in France was being cleaned by the people. So I'm sitting here making my coffee, thinking, what the hell's this dream about? And I keep going back to, it's got something to do with my prophecy. Because the plane coming into land means that when you have a dream about being up high, like in aeroplanes, hot air balloons, that sort of thing, it's to do with your ambition. And the higher you're flying, the higher your career will be, the higher your standing will be. Well, this was coming in to land, but it was crashing. But the thing is, it didn't actually crash. No one was hurt, no one was injured. And then I was with Flatty, and I got left and going back to where I was originally supposed to be going in the crash. So it's to do with me thinking that I was going to be building my foundation in Russia and being let down. Okay, but this was a huge passenger plane. And a passenger plane, and it was full of people, means that this is a situation, a career, a problem that involves a lot of people. It's something that involves a lot of people, and a lot of people being affected by it. The fact that it was crash landed in America, but no one was hurt, because the pilot was absolutely fantastic. So that means God landed the plane, basically, is what it's saying, which makes me think of the reading I did this morning, because God was in control of it, and that everyone was safe. But because it was China, it's got something to do with China. And remember, I keep having dreams, and there's codes in that keep saying China's innocent. Whatever it is that's coming, and I've said it before, I've said it a million times, there's going to be something to do with China involving Starmer and obviously Trump, because it was, even though in the dream we were in China, the streets in there all looked like American suburbs. So something that involves a lot of people in China that Trump and Starmer are involved in or have hidden is going to be exposed, but it's going to prove that China was innocent, that China has nothing to do with whatever it is they're being accused of. I've been saying this before. Remember, in my reading, I talked about my hairdryer dream and me washing the Chinese kids' hands and all that. And there's been a few times, remember when Starmer went to China this year, and I said, whatever he's doing, China's innocent. But the fact that I thought the plane was crashing in China, but it was American suburbs, it means that it's something that America's done that they're hiding to blame on China. And the fact that the water was being cleaned, the reservations were being cleaned, the water supply was being cleaned in what looked like France. I'm wondering if it's got something to do with COVID. And I'm wondering if there's a revolution about to kick off in France. Pulling the gunk up and making the water clean, like it became crystal clear. And Vladimir jumped in it, and the army were involved. And in my reading, I was saying army trucks are going to turn up and start hauling these politicians and these oligarchs and that off to The Hague, off to, be held accountable in court. And it's got something to do with China and Russia, and something that America and Great Britain have done behind closed doors that involves the king. And I keep thinking, is the truth going to come out about the murder of the Queen with COVID? Because remember, they blamed China for COVID, and China has proof that it came from America. But why is France involved, or is that just a separate thing? Vladimir jumped in the water, and it's like he was saying, I'm one of them, or like I'm in this with all of you. So it's got something to do with being blamed for things you weren't responsible for. And the truth coming out, like all the sludge being pulled out from the bottom of the tanks. So it's to do with information that they've been hiding in secret, buried deep down. Things they've been hiding deep down. So is it to do with Pfizer? Is it to do with the vaccination that the Queen had? Because I know she had the Pfizer, and that would tie her in with von der Leyen, because remember I was saying in the prophecy about von der Leyen. But is Pfizer's not a French company, is it? What's France got to do with it, is what I want to know. But it would suggest that there's all hell's about to break loose in France because of something that's been pulled up from the bottom. I'll have to look and see who owns Pfizer, but I know that von der Leyen's husband works for Pfizer, I know she made money from Pfizer, and Pfizer is the vaccine they gave the Queen. So is it to do with COVID? And people finding out that everything they were put through lockdowns and the threats of this, that and the other thing was also that they could hide the fact that their intention was to kill the Queen. How can we kill the Queen without making it look like we're killing the Queen? I know, let's drop a pandemic. And according to Boris Johnson, what the Queen actually died from was some sort of cancer that is directly attributed to the side effects of the vaccine. And Prince Philip got the vaccine, and then his heart condition, they said it was his heart and blah, blah, blah. He's always had a bum heart because of the vaccines. Oh, that might be why Vladimir was in it, because Vladimir and King Charles are related through Prince Philip. They're cousins through Prince Philip. They have a common ancestor through Prince Philip. I'm just trying to think why France. So I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know what God's got planned. But I'm just saying there's a possibility that the truth is about to come out that they murdered the Queen. I've been saying it from day one. Donald Trump admitted that in order to get to the king, they had to remove the queen out the way when he was pretending to be Q. Like, the evidence is all there. The evidence is all there. I've been able to link what kind of vaccine they gave her, that Netanyahu said it was done by design, and that their purpose was to conquer the Roman Empire, which today, in modern days, the Roman Empire is the king, King Charles. They are considered the modern day Roman Empire. Palantir admitted that they murder people that get in their way. And in order for them to bring in mass surveillance and all that sort of thing, there's no way the Queen would have ever said yes to that. So they soften the king up. I just need to figure out why France. Because in the dream, I remember thinking, I've gone from China to France. Like, I've walked that far. So it's to do with something that affects a lot of people, where there's like some sort of narrow escape, disaster averted because of the hand of God. And America hiding what was going to affect normal everyday citizens, because it was just like a normal suburb, that involves something in France where people are pulling things up that have been hidden and buried deep down in order to clean the water. So that involves Vladimir Putin. It's got to have something to do with COVID, the truth coming out about COVID. And if the truth comes out about COVID, it not only takes everyone in the World Economic Forum down and the World Health Organization and that, people like von der Leyen and that absolutely would be, there would be no denying it, but would have to suggest that there's going to be direct evidence, like an email, because they were holding it in their hand, they were holding the green sludge in their hands. All the people that were jumping into the water were holding green sludge in their hands. So, and everyone was smiling, and I remember thinking like, oh wow. So it's something evidentiary. It's something where it can't be denied. Like, nobody was listening to me, so I had to walk by myself from China to France. Nobody listened to me. I was left to deal with this all by myself. Everybody left me because they thought I was nuts when I started saying it. But then in this dream, but now the evidence is coming out. And it's going to prove that I was right about something I said. Now, it might not be about COVID, but it's just that China got the blame. As a plane flies over my head. And China has evidence that it was manufactured in America, and that Ukraine had laboratories that were working on, bioweaponry and all that sort of thing. I've even got the evidence that they used some of it to poison Russian soldiers. They poisoned Russian soldiers' water supply, their bottles of water and that. But if it does come out that they did indeed murder the Queen, whatever this evidence is, it's physical evidence that can't be denied. It's things that were buried, hidden deep down, that people are bringing to the surface. And I was standing down watching over them, kind of smiling to myself, because it was like, well, would you look at that? Well, sort of thing. So it's like, it's whatever's coming out that tears it all down is tied back to something I said, because they were in the water, and it was reservations of water. So it's something to do with codes that I put out, or something I said, something that's been held, that's been pushed deep down, that's going to be brought back up to the surface, whether evidence, the dirty, filthy, disgusting truth is going to be brought to the light. And then, because water is your intuition, right? And obviously, when you're in the creation frequency, it's all to do with intuition, all to do with your intuition and emotions. So it's something to do with, and because they were in like little square concrete reservoir, oh, I can't say that word, reservoirs, reservation stations, that, you know, it was quite big, and each little square of the reservation station, they were all joined together, and there were people swimming in all of them. So it's like, I don't know if somebody's going through all my stuff. It was the military as well. Vladdy was dressed in army stuff, so I don't know if somebody's going through all my posts or all my evidence, or, but I had, there were people, there were a lot of people, there were probably about 100 people, and with maybe like a dozen of them in each little station pulling the gunk out. And the one that I was looking down, when the people came up, there was this massive green globby gunky goop. And I was like, wow, wow, wow. So it's like something buried deep that's dirty and sneaky and gunky and horrible and distasteful and yuck being pulled up from the bottom, that cleans the water. So proves me right, proves my intuition and my emotional attachment to the situation, because, you know, I keep saying I feel like the queen down, being proven right about something that ends up bringing the military in, that makes world leaders scatter to the four corners. So every world leader who force vaccinated, who got involved in it, you know, all the World Economic Forum leaders and that, like Jacinda Ardern, all of them being held accountable because they helped cover up the murder of the Queen. It's that sort of thing. But it also clearing China's name and the way that the Chinese were treated. Remember, Chinese people were getting beaten and attacked and all sorts of things. I know my friend, who's Hmong, when she was pregnant, an American tried to run her over with their car, because she's Indigenous Chinese, Hmong. So God is in control of what's about to happen to everyone. And yes, I was left in it by myself. Yes, I had to deal with it by myself. Yes, it stopped me from where I thought I was going, but it's because I had to find my path to where I needed to be, which is Switzerland. And in doing that, it's helped me convince people of things I've said in the past, that when they're being examined by people, some kind of evidence has been pulled up from the surface that involves King Charles, that's going to end up bringing the military in to hold everyone responsible. Now, the interesting thing is, I had that dream where Justin Trudeau and Jacinda Ardern and Chelsea Clinton and that were being rounded up by the military and put in the back of those vans. Von der Leyen was there, Bill Gates was in it, and Jacinda Ardern and Justin Trudeau started ripping each other's jaws out. And I keep saying, I wonder if it's to do with COVID. the truth coming out about COVID. If 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 I'm right, and this is completely hypothetical, I'm just trying to put all the puzzle pieces together. If I'm right, and it turns out that they killed millions of people and are in the process of killing millions of more people because of those vaccines, just so they could kill the Queen to get to the King, the world will burn. However, it's going to clear Russia's name and it's going to clear China's name. And proves me right. And then I could totally see why, after the truth came out, I wouldn't be allowed to walk down the street by myself anymore. Because I'm the only one in the world that could have figured it out. Which is why I was on the plane. God saying, I'm taking the wheel, I'm driving all of this, but you have to go from China to France. You have to make the journey on your own because you're the only one who could do it. There is no other person on the planet, not CERN, not Professor Brian Cox, nobody with their physics degree, nobody with none of it, no witch, no Illuminati, no Abramovich spirit cooking bullshit. There isn't a single person on the planet that could have figured out that plot. And it's been in place since Queen Victoria, when they tried it out on Queen Victoria with typhoid, when they got the 2 Alberts. And Netanyahu saying that the COVID vaccine was Israel's greatest invention. And I said to the king, see, he's admitting. I'm reading a book on how to take down the Roman Empire because we failed the first time. Because Mossad were invented during the reign of Queen Victoria. And it was after Mossad were developed, became an organisation, that typhoid broke out. And typhoid is COVID. Malaria is COVID. The Spanish flu was COVID. So because they failed to take out Queen Victoria the first time, they then tried the second time, taking out the Queen Elizabeth's lineage. And they started practicing it during World War II, with the eugenics program and all that, which is what Bill Gates carried on, and Klaus Schwab and all that. That's the eugenics program, because they needed vaccines and that were going to target specific bloodlines to kill them off, targeting the Queen's bloodline. And because when they injected Philip and Her Majesty, it killed them, so then they were targeting Charles and that as well. And remember, King Charles and Catherine both got cancer, and they both got vaccinated. So now, Pegasus, pull off another pandemic and get the rest of them, the ones that target the children, so then get Charlotte and Louis and all that vaccinated, and then they die of heart conditions and stuff as well, because then they know exactly how to target the royal bloodlines. Now, that's a hypothetical, what my prophecy could have been about this morning. But after having that dream about the plane crash, I'm starting to wonder whether it doesn't come out that they did, the evidence is going to come out where it's like it can't be denied. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, if I was a judge and I saw my evidence, I would be demanding an investigation, because my evidence in my mind is good enough to prove that the World Economic Forum, the EU, the British Parliament, and the Americans associated with Trump and Blair, I've been able to prove it goes all the way back, from beyond Trump and Blair all the way back to the creation of Mossad and Queen Victoria. The evidence is there. In my mind, if I was a judge, I'd be happy with my evidence and order that these people, like von der Leyen and that, get rounded up and answer for it in court. because my evidence is pretty bloody amazing, if I do say so myself. But I think because I was looking down over the people pulling the stuff up, I'm wondering whether someone's going to post something or say something or do something where they have actual proof of it, an email, a video, a conversation, where it can't be denied, where they're saying, let's kill the, like, we've got to kill the Queen. They said it's bigger than Epstein, so it might be something hidden in the Epstein files. Remember when I did my reading this morning, the voice of the universe, the mighty universe, Atom, said it's bigger than Epstein. So there might be something buried in the Epstein files. And that might be the real reason why Trump is hiding the Epstein files and why they're all protecting Israel. Because if it comes out that they were following Israel's orders to murder the Queen, they're all screwed. They'll get the death penalty. Every single one of them will get the death penalty because they killed the reigning monarch. And remember, with it being France, and I said, is it to do with a revolution? Could it be, like Louis XV and Marie Antoinette and all that? The killing of the royals. And remember, they were killed by Israel. They were killed by the whole revolution in France. It was all done on purpose. And I had said to the king, if you don't wake up, you're going to go the way of Louis XV. I literally have the texts that I sent on X. So if it's not that, it could be, that the whole climate change net zero thing's a lie. It's just come out that Ed, who was the other one in the video with Keir Starmer, sexually assaulting trans kids at the World Economic Forum meeting room, has been hiding the fact that net zero is going to cost the consumer more. That electricity and gas and that will cost more. He's hiding the fact that in order to save the planet, people are going to be paying through the teeth for it. But I don't think it's that. People, because of the whole thing that happened in Iran, the whole climate change net zero thing's been exposed as a lie. But this dream didn't involve Iran or anything like that. There was no weather involved. It was God helping everyone escape a disaster or survive a disaster. Something that should have been disastrous wasn't, because of the hand of God guiding it. So I don't know. I honestly, I don't know what else to say. We're just going to have to wait for the truth to come out, but the truth is about to come out, and when it does, you're about to see terror on the faces of people like Ardern and Trudeau and von der Leyen and Trump and Starmer and Johnson and Blair and Macron and Moose and all of them, in a way that history will never forget. And that might be the real reason why they're hiding the Epstein files. But I think something's about to come out. Someone's going to have some evidence that they're holding in their hand that proves I was right about everything, I think. And whatever it is that I've been proven right about, militaries get called in, leaders, world leaders, politicians, their friends, family, business associates, oligarchs, all of that end up getting arrested and sent to trial for The Hague, because it's war crimes and genocide and all that. So all of them being rounded up by their militaries by order of the king. Because I've seen it all. They get taken to military bases and they have military trials. And then the big names of it, like von der Leyen and that, go to The Hague. Whereas the ones who carried out the orders, like the cops and the teachers and the doctors and the nurses and that, they go to military bases to be tried. The underlings go to military bases to be tried. The big ones, like the politicians and people who had shares in the vaccines and all of that, they go to The Hague. And I keep that dream that I had where Bill Gates and Tedros. Remember I had that dream where Bill Gates and Tedros and Fauci and that were changed, handcuffed to the poles and then shot? That was in Asia. And then at the end of the dream, the Queen held up a glass of champagne and said, "Cheers, everybody." Because she's not letting it go. So it must have something to do with COVID. It must have something to do with it. So, yeah, so the dream is saying something I said in the past, evidence is going to be pulled up. Something that's not been looked at, as like evidence is going to be pulled up from the past about something I said that has been buried deep down, is going to come to the surface and expose everything. The fact that it was in France could be to do with, like I said, because I said, revolution, but it could also be to do with Louis and Marie. Just like with Tsar Nicholas, that whole revolution there with Tsar Nicholas, and that was because of the Jews. And when I say Jews, I don't mean Jewish people, I mean what we now know to be Israel. So it might very well be the reason why they're all fighting to shut these Epstein files down isn't just necessarily because of what they were doing to children in them, and I have been able to link every single world leader to it, other than the ones they call the dictators, but that there's discussions about their plot to kill the Queen. And it may be about to come to the surface, I don't know. But then it would explain why then everybody looks at me and why I'm never able to walk down the street again. Because then they know God does send messages. God does send messengers to prove that he's real. And it will immediately change the way people view God. And they'll realise that God is real and the supernatural is real. And he really does send messengers with messages to help humanity fight evil, fight the dark side, which is originally what Vladimir Putin and I were doing together. It was him and I against the world. And then Trump came along and, yeah. So, we'll just see what happens. But whatever happens, it takes me to Switzerland. That's all I care about. As long as my name is cleared and I get justice, because justice for me is justice for everybody. And I've always said that. Me getting justice gets justice for everybody. I just didn't know how. But this would make sense. And then I can go to Switzerland and be with my little teeny tiny support network and contact operatic societies and get this foundation built and go and be happy, because there's really nowhere else in the world that brings me peace. There's loyalty there. I can feel it. There's loyalty waiting for me there. And for me, loyalty is everything. If you're loyal to me, if you prove your loyalty to me, I'm total hardcore ride or die. Once you stab me in the back, once you're disloyal to me, I can never trust you again. And there's loyalty there waiting for me in Switzerland. I can feel it. So we'll see what happens, but something's about to come out. So just get ready, people, because this is going to be explosive. Takes all of them down in one go, including all the people in social media and the BBC who lied to protect Israel in regards to the COVID. So the BBC will go down. People like Zuckerberg and Musk and that will be held accountable. They all own shares in the vaccines anyway. I got a whole list of people who own shares in the vaccine. Trump, the Trump family, JD Vance, Rishi Sunak. So, and Donald Trump's vaccine has adrenochrome in it, just so you know. And you know how they get adrenochrome. But yeah, there's evidence. Look, it's all there. On Donald Trump's vaccine, adrenochrome is in it. It's there in my post somewhere. Again, buried deep down because obviously this is from years ago. My ex and that I started in 2022. But it'll be all there. But yeah, Donald Trump's vaccine has adrenochrome in it. And they have to kill children through terror, like Hillary Clinton ripping their faces off, frazzled rip. They terrify the children and they bite them, take chunks of flesh out of the kids and do whatever they have to do to terrify the kids so much that they take the blood off them and then it gives you the high. Well, Donald Trump's vaccine has got adrenochrome in it. So does, epinephrine pens. When you have, that's why I refuse to, because I have egg allergies and I'm allergic to penicillin and stuff, but I refuse to have the EpiPen because the EpiPens, epinephrine pens, the EpiPens for allergies have got adrenochrome in it. And you got to kill kids to get adrenochrome. So, yeah, that's why I refuse to have EpiPens. I take antihistamines every single day. It's the only drug you'll find in my body. And I drink vinegar and that to try and stave off in case I accidentally have something with egg in it. But yeah, because I absolutely refuse EpiPens. So there you go. So we'll see what happens, but yeah, God's on it. On it like a plane's bonnet. I'll speak to you later. I'm going to have my breakfast. Ka kite anō. I'm coming, Switzerland. I hope you're ready for me. Mwah.